Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Whoops. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you are. Thank you for watching my videos. I'm here joined with Inti Campo,
Hello, people. How are you today?
and we're here to free your mind from fiat currencies. Anyways, we have an exciting show today, man. Oh wow, I've got we're gonna be talking about where's Bitcoin going because yesterday it dumped a bit, right? And because everybody was saying because of Trump, but no. As you know, if you're watching yesterday's show, right, I told you that hey, this thing was rolling over. Right now, we're bouncing off of this trend line, and that's not good. So we could see this thing breaking down. Um, Pretty majorly, substantially. Right. We're also going to be talking about the fact that, I don't see hyperinflation this year, and they're talking about it in the news. Right, and I'm going to point out how that $9 trillion does not equate to hyperinflation, and why. Also, we're going to be talking about the fact that you know what this guy named Marc Chandler. I don't know who he really is, but who cares? He's just some old dude who lives in the old guard, who thinks that Bitcoin is not going to be the world reserve currency. And I will point out why that's not true. It will be the world reserve currency in the future. And we're also going to of course, talk about the Uniswap and how on my DJ15 token on Uniswap. So, and let's see here. I think that's all we're going to be talking about for today. So, before we get to the TA, Inti's got a few words to say.
Yes. As always, people, it's worth to remind you that this video is for entertainment purposes only, and this is not financial advice. Please do your own research before putting any of your hard-earned money on the market.
All right. Well, with the red jacket, right? If you should be afraid.
Oh boy.
Oh man, you know
So
what?
we broke down.
Oh yeah, we're broken down, right? And let's see here. I just want to make sure that I'm actually in the camera angle here first. Okay, there we go. Alrighty. So yeah, everybody's saying this is because there's no stimulus package. But why did I notice that this thing was like getting tired? Why? Why? Well, because the indicators were saying, okay, that's it. We were bouncing off of this trend line, and we looked really tired. So maybe we could actually move this trend line a little bit higher, like there, so that we can actually touch a few more lines. But the problem is are we touching this one right? Yeah, we're not touching the top one of that one. So I'm not sure if that's a good idea to move that. But let's just move. Let's keep it there for now. And so yeah, we could see that Bitcoin's breaking down. We could see that it's trying to roll back up. This is a no trade zone. You wouldn't want to trade in here, man, because you wouldn't want to short. You short up here, but you wouldn't want to take a short here. That's just not playing from a position of strength. And what do I always say? Always play from a position of strength and don't get wrecked. That's a serious wreckage right there in the middle here. If you're really interested in shorting this, right, best idea I can give you, right, is wait for the 78.6 or the 61.8 to look for a short position on a lower time frame, and that's how you'd play that. I don't think the average person should be playing around with trading on these what's it called, these casino exchanges like Bybit and BitMEX and Fimex and so forth. But if you're interested in gambling your money away, you can do so. The links are in the description below for our affiliates. All right. Before I go on to actually to Ethereum, right? There's one other thing I wanted to mention here, right? Which is Bitcoin price holds 10.5K, but a $3 million sell wall looms ahead. Now, they're going on to say here, according to Cole Garner, a well-respected on-chain analysis, there's a almost like 3,000 BTC, 2,800 BTC sell wall on Binance. It really is on Binance with Bitcoin. With Bitcoin BTC prices currently trading around 10,700, equivalent to batch sell orders of $30 million on just one exchange. Well, so let's see. Let's take a look at that. Actually, let's take a look at that because you can actually look at that by going to volume. So they said Binance. Alrighty. Let's see if we can see that. Nope, I don't see it here. Maybe it's the data's not going back further enough. Nope. No. So we got to assume that it's actually there, right? Because there's not enough data. Now, most people would look at that and say, well, hey, this is a bearish sign, right? Oh my God, somebody wants to dump a bunch of Bitcoin.
Nope.
Oh, you do know.
Yes, I do know.
Very good, Inti. Very good.
You want me to explain why?
Yes, please explain it. Explain it to the people.
Because market moves to size.
Exactly.
So if you have a bunch of sell orders up here and price is here, price actually wants to go there, go up, fill those orders, and then down. That's how it works.
Exactly. Exactly. It always works the opposite than most people think, right? And so now you've learned something new about trading. So hopefully you will use that in the future. Let's see what happens with Bitcoin, because that might mean that we might bounce off of this level here and then head to the 11,000 just to clear this guy out, assuming that is true, right? And then dump. So, look out for that if that's the case. All right, looking at Ethereum. Ethereum is dumping bad. Oh, wow. Oof. Oh. Ouch. Okay. Not good. Not good. Why do I say that? You might not see it because I know this is really hard for most people to see. But do you see something interesting forming up in here, right? You can see it here clearly, right? And yeah, it looked like it was going to W out and pop off, but it didn't. And then, yeah, right.
Oof.
Yeah, I know. Not
Market's
good.
so smiling at us.
Not good at all. Too many smiles, man. Smiles to laugh at us. Smile within a smile, not a good thing. And then we could go back out even further, and it's like, oh, make my stomach turn, why don't you? Right? I mean, yeah, this is not a good situation here with Ethereum. Hopefully, I don't know, maybe it could turn around, right? And negate that, but I think it's going to follow Bitcoin, right? So, and Bitcoin, I really see a dump coming, right? Might not happen, of course, right? No problem guarantees from the management. If it holds this line, the dump's off the table, right? If it could hold this line, this is the line that it's got to hold. If Bitcoin can hold that, the dump's off the table. As for Ethereum, right? It's got to hold. It's already broken this pretty much, right? It's not guaranteed, but it looks like it's already broken. Let's see if there's a divergence so that we can like really just like maybe celebrate a little bit. Let's see. Let's see here. Let me just make that bigger. Yes, there is a little bit of a celebration. Not much. You can like say that this might not work out for the bears. Let me see here. I'm trying to get the trend line there. This might not work out for the bears, but the bears are still in control until we pass this negative 23.5 level on the RSI, which is the blue line that I'm looking at, not the yellow line. I could pretty much get rid of the yellow line because I barely even use it. So yeah, we do have a little bit of divergence there. Let's just see if we have it on the MACD, which is much stronger. And yes, we do. So the problem is, right? In order to clear this in order to make this divergence basically confirm that this is a bullish divergence, we have to come all the way to the 1.17 on the MACD, which is a long way away. Not the greatest divergence to have right here, but it is a divergence. Now, with that said, let's see if we have some sort of trend that we could look at. I would like to find something a little bit stronger than that. No. Yeah, I don't see a trend that we can call here. The only one we have is that long-term trend line, which is solid. So what I have to say is these are the line in the sand here, right here. Basically, we can't break this. We just can't. We break these points here, we're finished. We're done like dinner. And you don't want to know where we're gonna go, but let's just see where that is. It's not. I guess it's not as bad, but still, it is not. Isn't the greatest feeling to have. See markets go down. Nobody wants to see markets go down, of course. We always just want to see it go up, up, and away. Clone. Right. So, I mean, it's not so bad. It's 280, which is expected, around 280 level, right? Which is where it's expected to go. So, with Bitcoin dump, it probably hit there. And so it's not the end of the world, right? And then if once we see a divergence at that level, I would suggest you pick some up at near or at the 280 level. So that's if we dump, of course, right? That's if I'm right here and Bitcoin takes a dump and goes further down and goes all the way to the 96 level. That's going to happen. And anything can happen. So at this point, all right. So all right. So with that said, let's go on to my coin and let's do some TA on DJ15 coin. All right. Okay. So first off, right? I know this looks really beautiful, but what I want to point out here, this is like purely manipulated by me, right? Okay. So the reason why is that. Because this is just a token to allow you guys access to this group. And I want to keep this group small, tiny, and cozy, right? So that you guys can, have your questions and answers posed, your questions posed, and I can answer them in this group without you guys, without a whole bunch of other yo-yos who don't really have anything to add for us. So, I want to keep this group small, and there's a limit. So I'm gonna place a minimum buy order to get into this group, and that's gonna be 0.5 DJ15 tokens. And so I'm going to be taking the revenue and buying up the tokens here with that revenue, so that the price continues going higher and making it more difficult for people to buy this token to get into the group.
How does it feel to be an institutional buyer?
Yeah, that's who I am. I'm an institutional buyer, right? If it was really an institutional buyer, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't actually push the price up. I would actually just wait for it to break down, because it was about to break down here and probably come down to the where was it, the 2 point, almost the 3 level here, around the 0.3 level. But That's not what this token's about. It's not about making money. It's about what basically sharing with my fans, my diehard fans, right? Sharing with you guys. Now, if you guys decide, if you do purchase the token, there is a bonus, right? That and you want to get rid of it, you can, right? And allow somebody else to come in, and just you will be removed from this group, and that's that. Right, so if you want to sell your tokens, not a problem. You could just sell your tokens on the Uniswap contract, and yeah, we will remove you from the group. There's a bot that's keeping an eye on your account, and if your account doesn't have any DJ15 tokens, it will remove you. Okay, on to the next subject matter of today. So if you're interested, before I do that, if you're interested, right, there is a links in the description on how to get into the Telegram group and also how to purchase the DJ15 tokens. Very important that you learn this kind of stuff because it will be useful in the future, even though it might seem like a lot of work.
Hey, Da Vinci, let me get something straight. So the DA15 token is not an investment?
Yes, the DJ15 token is not an investment.
So no one is going to get rich by buying it?
No, you're not going to get rich by buying it. So please keep that in mind. All right. Next, if you also want to have access to the group without going through all of that hassle, right? You could always purchase a Pandora's Wallet subscription. Start off with 1 month, see if that's for you. If not, that's fine, right? You don't have to continue the subscription, right? But if you do like it, you can always upgrade to like 3 or 1 year, and so forth. So. Yeah, and then you'll have access, obviously, to the videos as well, because I will be sharing that. And also, you'll have additional videos and Inti's trades, and I'll have special videos for everybody. So yeah, yeah. If you're interested in all that, yeah, join us. And then you also see you also see access to my little old lady strategy portfolio. So that's pretty cool, right? You can see how much money I'm making from that. Okay, it's time for the news, because I'm sure you've been waiting, right, with all this advertising, and I'm sure you've been waiting for that. And the first thing I want to talk about is the velocity, right? The velocity of money is very important because it shows how much money is being turned over in the economy. So, for example, if I borrow some money from the bank, right, and I pay an employee, that's a velocity of 1, right? As soon as if that employee pays off debt, right, that's a velocity of 2, believe it or not. Now, here's the scary thing, right? If I borrow money and I pay off another debt with that, that's a velocity of 0. And yeah, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna come back to that point in a second, right? Before I do, I want to explain something about the non-hyperinflationary event. Since September 2019, researchers showed that the Federal Reserve has pumped over $9 trillion to primary dealers by lending enormous emergency repo operations. Okay, the $9 trillion. I know I made a big deal about the money. They started off with a repo operations of a small in September in 2019 of like a 200 billion, 100 billion here, or they started off 50 billion, I think it was, and then they went up to 100 billion, and they slowly creeped up to like trillions, right? And what is the repo operations exactly, right? And to make it short and succinct, it's just basically, hey, you know what? Can I borrow a small amount of money overnight, shortly, and then I'll pay you back the next day, right? And that's it. And then they take off their balance sheet basically a whole bunch of stuff, like all the loans that they made, because what the rule was that you're supposed to have 10% reserves on the closing day of the bank, right? So if you don't have 10% reserves of cash, right, your bank is insolvent. So in order to avoid that from happening, the Federal Reserve created this, allowed the banks to do, back in the 90s, to do what's called overnight repo, or what they also called sweeps in the 90s. And so So the banks needed to always overnight, borrow money, right, so that they don't look like they're insolvent, and then give away their loans, their debts, all the loans that they made, and then they'd buy it back in the morning. So they were leveraged, 100 to 1, 1,000 to 1. Who cares? It doesn't matter. They can do that, and they just have to just remove those debts off the balance sheet. Now, where would they put that cash when they do get it overnight? Well, they would deposit with the Federal Reserve. So, effectively, think about this. Effectively, what they were doing right, is borrowing from the Fed, taking that cash, and then giving it back to the Fed to say deposit as reserves. And then in the morning, they would buy back they take back the money from the Fed, buy back their debts from the loans from the Fed, and then start it all over again. And so the Federal Reserve thought, what's the point of all this? All these banks are like super leveraged, 100 to 1, 1,000 to 1. Yeah. Let's stop this altogether. So they closed the repo markets, and now they allow the banks to have zero reserves on deposit. So effectively, what I wanted you to understand from this, right? The core thing that you need to understand is that the banks can borrow as much money. Lend as much money as they want. So if you were to go to your bank and say, "Give me $2 trillion," they can effectively give you that. They haven't. They won't do that yet. They haven't done that yet, and then I'll explain why. Right? Because they're scared, right? And so they don't want to, because they still can go bankrupt, right? But they still get bailed out. But that's another issue altogether. But anyways, so they're scared that they might you're not going to pay it back, right? Because there is a consequence if you don't pay it back. But we won't get into that because I'm gonna go into too long. I want to get into the next point. Is the estimates say that in 2020 alone, the U.S. has created 22% of all USD created since the birth of the nation. Now, that is the money that's created out of debt. That's real money, right? This money, yes, it was created out of debt, but it was always like just washed away, right? It was always, created and destroyed, created and destroyed, created and destroyed. This money, yes, it was created and it was not destroyed. It's out there, right? And you can see that this 22% is not an estimate. Duh, it's here. Right? This is 15,500, and you add up to 18,700. That's approximately 22%. And you'll notice that all that number, there's difference in that number that is just all the what's it called? The Federal Reserve buying the fiscal stimulus from the United States government. So remember, they did 3.5 trillion. Well, look, this looks like 3.5 trillion. And so you can see that the banks itself are not actually doing the lending and increasing the money supply. It's just the federal government. Because people are not interested in taking out heavy loans, and the banks are not interested in sending loans. They are a little bit. They are doing it with houses and so forth, but not so much. But once that happens, look out for. Once they start giving out lots of loans, watch this thing go nuts. Right now it's collapsing, and it's destroying the banking system as it collapses. But once this turns around, that's hyperinflation. This is hyperinflation. But unfortunately, this will only tell you that after the fact. Okay. With that said, I think I should go on to my next topic of today. All right. Let's see. Did I cover everything else? Yes. Okay. Yes. Alrighty. Bitcoin unlikely to replace the U.S. dollar as global reserve reserve. Marc Chandler said. Right. Alrighty. And he says backing the U.S. dollar is the world's biggest and deepest and most transparent government bond market.
What is this guy saying?
Hold on. I just don't know how Bitcoin can replace the greenback. from that viewpoint. I don't see it. All right. All right. The reason why he does not see it, right? I know. It's like, what are you talking? What are you smoking? And yeah, the reason why he's thinking that this is not possible is because why does corporations and governments have U.S. bonds or bonds in general, like whether it be your state bond, your local city bonds. Why do they have that on their balance sheets? Do you know why, Inti? If you don't, it's okay.
Okay, I don't.
All right. I'm going to answer that question. And the reason why is because they can always hold cash, but why wouldn't they? But they don't want to hold cash because the cash loses value. So they want to earn interest, right? So that they can protect their holdings, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Makes
why
sense.
they have bonds, right? Makes sense, right? They have bonds, right? Because you don't want to lose out to inflation. Well, what happens if cash was actually increasing in value, right? Because bonds are risky, right? Because a city or a state can default, right?
Yes.
So they carry risk with them, and you could say, well, the U.S. government's never going to default. Oh my God, no, they're going to print more money. Yeah, but if they hyperinflate it, right? That's a default, right? Correct?
I would say so.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
what's the point of having all the money?
because you're
if it's
losing
worthless?
your capital, right? Yeah, exactly. And so, if you had to choose between cash that was increasing in value, or a bond that could default on, right? Which would you choose?
First option, of course.
Cash that's increasing in value.
Yes.
Right?
Because I wouldn't need to invest in the first place.
Exactly. Exactly.
I could actually save money.
Exactly.
Thing that you cannot do with fiat currency.
Exactly. Do you see? Now, are you seeing how now that corporations will slowly move to holding Bitcoin? And in fact, we've already started to see that with MicroStrategies, because they want to preserve their wealth and in a guaranteed asset that's not going to take away their wealth. And what is that? Bitcoin. How do you like them apples? All right. Well, that was amazing. I mean, you know what? I hope you learned something, because this is so cool. I'm looking forward to that, and I want to know. I want you to. I want to tell you another story, right? Before I end it off. I was working at the Toronto carpet factory, and that factory was a very old factory that went out of business right after the Great Depression. But before that, they never used banks. Before they went out, they never ever used banks. They had this massive safe, and they'd pay their employees all in cash. Why did they do that? Because cash was always increasing in value, and there was no point in leaving cash in the bank. There was no point in buying bonds. So we'll be going back to that. All right. Well, thank you all for watching on YouTube. I really appreciate you guys watching, and wherever you watch it, whether you watch it on library.tv. Thank you for watching. We're going to be going on to the question and answers. If you want to participate in that, you know how to do that by joining my group, or watching us on Twitch, and you can participate in the question and answers. Thanks for watching. Bye now.
Bye.